Hello everyone and welcome to another lap time challenge video. In this one I'm going to show you the new combo which is at the Autodrome Lago Maggiore full course, and we are in this Alfa Romeo Giulia TZ2 Zagato from 1965. So what I'm going to show you in this video is, first I'm going to very quickly describe about the car, then I'm going to show you my fastest lap followed by the detailed lap afterwards, and then after that detailed lap I will go and show you my fastest lap again but with commentary in the background for reminders. Then I'll show you how to get CFN, how to use data logger, Ghost and see my replays, etc. So if you enjoy this video and find it helpful, then I'd appreciate a like and subscription. Anyway, let's talk about the settings for this event. So first of all, well, it's Lago Maggiore, and a current world record holder is Adam Tappai with a 2:11.269. I'm P2 with a 2:11.493. So a bit over 2 tenths of time, but I'm pretty happy with my lap. S2 could be a bit better in particular, but other than that, I'm quite happy with this lap. Now, as you go into the car settings here, it looks like in this that you want to have this car out, because when you're revving it out, you still have more power revving it out than when you change gear. And plus this car doesn't have much torque, so at least in the early revs, so you want to rev this car out completely, in my opinion. Without further ado, let's show you my fastest lap I've just done, a 2:11.493. For gold estimate, I think if you get into 2:14 you should get gold. But anyway, enjoy my lap, guys. Okay guys, so hopefully you've enjoyed the lap I've just shown you. Now I'm going to show you how I did it. So before we get into it, let me tell you where I am changing gears. So I'm changing from second to third at 67 miles per hour, 67, 68 miles per hour, from third to fourth at 100 miles per hour or 101, and from fourth to fifth at 127 or 128 miles per hour. Basically, what I will say is, if you're trying to hit for 128, 101 and 68 gear changes, you're gonna have to change gear as soon as you see those numbers, because otherwise you'll rev out the car and the engine will core a bit, so you'll lose a bit of time when changing gear, etc. And that'll cost you time for the rest of the straight. But anyway, I'm going to show you whereabouts I'm braking, the rough apex speeds, and what the braking zone looks like on each camera angle. So let's get into it. First corner, you go to this Maggiore sign just before the painted wall barrier there. I'm braking basically on it. As you can see, I've just started to lift now. So this is what it looks like in bumper camera, bonnet camera, chase camera, and cockpit camera, a very nice cockpit camera I must say in this car, and I'm going to go for the cut line. So what I'm aiming to do is have my right wheels touch the inside curb here, but I want my left tyre to go over the grass. Reason for that is because 1, you are minimising distance, and 2, and I would argue more importantly, actually no, not more importantly, but just as importantly, it opens up for the next corner, so you can brake a bit later and carry a bit more speed. I didn't cut on this particular lap, but it is slightly faster to cut it. So if you want to just do it the safe way, like I'm doing this lap, then do it this way. With apex speed you want to take for this corner is around 57 miles per hour. Here, I'm braking. I've just tapped the brakes now, but I'm braking as I get to the end of this right bit of this Lago Maggiore runoff area. Of the red and right runoff area. As soon as the right ends on my bumper cam screen, that's when I start to brake. So this is what it looks like in bumper camera, bonnet camera, chase camera, and cockpit. And again, the minimum apex speed will be about 40 miles per hour. You want your right tyres to go onto the yellow part of this curb without touching the grass as well. What I will say is, if you're when you're fully going on the full throttle here, be a bit careful going with your steering initially, because if you fully turn to right and go full force straight away with the differential of this car, it will just rev up and you will cut the engine a bit by hitting the rev limiter. So you can initially fully turn in, but you need to ease off the steering as you get towards the exit. So just pay attention to that. Here, as soon as I go a little bit past this right line, as you go in past the outside of the track layout, that is when I'm turning to the left. So I'll say about here. Yeah, in fact I'll start turning to the left now. So this is what it looks like in bumper camera, bonnet, chase and cockpit. And minimum apex speed for this corner was 83 to 84 miles per hour. What you want to do is you want to have your left tyres hook onto this inside curb here, but do note that it is important to get your left wheels off this inside curb by the time the grass starts, because the car will bounce if you go over that part of the curb, because it's not as flat. Here, I'm braking just now as the orange barrier ends on my bumper cam screen. That is when I'm tapping the brakes. So this is what it looks like in bumper, bonnet, chase and cockpit. And in case you don't know what orange barrier I mean this orange barrier here on the right. The minimum apex speed I was going for this corner was around 64 miles per hour. What I will notice again, try get your right tyres to go in between the orange and red and white part of this curb, because it can hook your car around the corner a little bit. But do note, if your right tyre touches this orange curb, the car will, with its suspension, since it's a 1960s car, will bounce a bit, and you'll be losing quite a lot of momentum doing that. So do not touch this orange curb. Track limits here, as long as your right tyres carries on touching the whole curb, then you won't get an invalidated lap time. There were a few laps where my lap invalidated because I had my right wheels just go for this grass. So it is important to have your right tyres touch this part of the curb before this little grass appears on your screen. What I will notice as well is when I'm changing gear, as I'm changing gear, which is the X button on my controller, I am completely lifting off the throttle because this car has a manual gearbox. It is slightly quicker to lift when you're changing gear in this car. And that's for all manual cars, I believe, with like actual manual gearbox with a gear stick here. There's a gear stick down there. Every car with those sort of gears here, with a gear stick, is usually faster to lift and shift at the same time because it changes gear very slightly quicker. Here I'm braking about, there's two references. You could either brake at the end of this right tired wall here, or what I just used was I broke a car length before I got to the end of this outside little curb here. So what you're going to do is you're going to brake. Try brake in a straight line as possible. You will obviously have to steer a little bit. So basically what I'm trying to say is try not to steer too much under braking. Stay as far to the outside as possible because you want to have as good of an exit as possible for this right-hander coming up. Especially in a car like this which doesn't have much power. I forgot to show you different camera angles, and I apologise for that. In fact, I've just started braking now. So this is what it looks like in bonnet camera, bumper camera, chase camera and cockpit, and the minimum apex speed I'm going for this corner was 70 miles per hour. Carry on turn to right, you want to use as short distance as possible. This corner, in my opinion, the most difficult corner on this track. Actually, the second most difficult corner, I'd say. Where am I braking? Quite hard to point out braking reference when you're not going full speed. There you go. It's just top to brakes now, but there wasn't really a great reference for this. But what I use is basically when I got halfway along this white and red curve, that's when I brake and turn to the left. So this is what it looks like in bumper camera, bonnet camera, chase camera, and cockpit camera. Minimum apex speed for this corner was 84 to 85 miles per hour. Watch the line very carefully on this first part. I lost a little bit of time here, but basically what I'm trying to say is as long as your right tyre, you can go off the curb if your right tyre starts to touch this little grey part of this track here with the grass in between the grids or whatever. You can use all that track limit, so you don't even need your right tyres on this part of this curb here. You can go here if you want with your right tyres. And it's better to do that because you want to open up this next part of this section as much as possible, so you don't have to steer as much and basically carry as much speed and momentum as possible. But like I said, 85 mile an hour minimum apex speed, and I'm already full throttle. Here, you want to minimise distance and open up for this next corner, so you want your left tyre to basically be touching this little grey part of this curb, if you can help it. Let me just show you here. There you go. As you can see, I'm not quite on this grey part of this curb, but that's what I mean with the track limits. You want to, in fact, my front left tyre is starting to go onto this grey part of this curb. You want to use that grey part of the curb because you're minimising distance and you're opening up for the next corner, so that you're less likely to understeer off and you can carry more speed and momentum through the corner. As soon as you start to go off this curve, that's when I'm starting turning to the left. So I'll just very quickly show you the camera angle. So this is bonnet, bumper, chase, and cockpit. When I press play, you'll see me start to steer left in 3, 2, 1. Now, this is flat if you do the right line. If you turn in a touch late, you might have to do a small lift, or you'll just go a little bit on the grass. You know, whichever you prefer. I did lose a tenth in this sector, I think, though, because I turned a bit late for the first part of the S's here. That's where I think I lost the time on the S2. This corner, honestly, probably the easiest braking reference for this track. So I'm braking at the second last scarlet line sign here on the right. So I'm braking at the end of this scarlet line barrier here on the right. So this is what it looks like in bumper, bonnet, chase and cockpit. Minimum apex speed for this corner will be 65 miles per hour. Watch the line I do though. So what I like to do is I like to have my right tyres get as close to these orange rumble strips as possible, at least on a controller. Don't know what it's like on a wheel. I don't know if it'll be faster to cut it on a wheel, since you have more rotation with the wheel, you can turn more. So it might be better doing a tighter line on the wheel, but on a controller at least you want to take this line here. Pick up the throttle as early as possible because you're going to be flat out for the next 15 seconds or so, and plus it's downhill, so you want as much speed and momentum going out of this corner as possible, since you'll make a lot of lap time here. Veer off a bit to the right, just open up this section of the track. Even though it's easy flat, the less down you do, the more speed you're carrying. You don't want to scrub the speed by steering too much when you don't have to. This corner, in my opinion, the most difficult corner on this track. I've not paused it when braking yet, but I want to point out that I am using this little pole thing as a reference here, and I'm braking a car length after it. So about any second out there. So this is what it looks like in, well, you could also say use like 2 car lengths off this 50 marker as well. But this is what it looks like in bumper camera, bonnet camera, chase camera, and cockpit. And the minimum apex speed I'm taking for this corner was, I want to say, about 77-78 miles per hour. if you can help it, try cut this corner a little bit more than I did. I did steer a bit too late, but you want your left tyre to basically be similar to the S's, the second part of the S's. You want your left tyre to be on this grey part of the curb if you can help it. Full throttle early if you can. Use all this exit curb just to open up this next corner and to maximise the exit speed. But I'm braking. Well, I don't even know if I don't think I'm braking. I think I'm just lifting as soon as I get to the end of this curb here. So this is what it looks like in bumper, bonnet, chase, and cockpit. Oh, sorry, and cockpit here. I tap the brakes a bit down to about 78 miles per hour. As soon as I start to get onto this part of the curb, that's when you're going to see me pick up the full throttle. 3, 2, 1. Now this corner doesn't look like a corner, but in this car with its differential, it is actually a corner. If you steer too much or you take too much curb, the car will slightly oversteer and you'll bounce off the limiter 7 miles an hour too early. Instead of revving up to 100 miles an hour, you'd be revving up to 93 miles an hour before the car bounces off the limiter. So you need to be extremely careful with your steering here. As you can see, I am purposely going to go off this curb just so that I don't hit the limiter and put too much steering in. Last corner. Actually, now thinking about this is the hardest corner of the track, at least to maximise time on. But I'm braking as soon as this little line appears on this outside curb here. Not this faint one here or this darker one here. As soon as this one starts to appear. Very hard to see at first. You'll probably see this one more clearly. But even if you brake there, it's not too bad. So this is what it looks like in bumper camera, bonnet camera, chase camera, and cockpit camera. Minimum apex speed 90 miles per hour. And again, watch for the line very carefully. You want your right tyres to be just touching this inside curb here. By the time your right tyres are leaving this curb, you want to be touching this curb here, just to minimise distance and pick up the throttle as early as possible so you can carry as much speed and momentum as possible. And taking a tyre line, you won't need to use as much. How do I explain it? You're basically cutting the track distance a little bit. Exiting fourth. And use all this exit. In lap time challenges usually, when you have your tyres, all your tyres go over this white line, it's a track limit, track invalidation. However, on tracks where there's other combos, so there is this west Lago Maggiore track layout, and the east rejoins this track here. Since there's another track layout, you can use all this exit here, since it is part of another track, so the game doesn't recognise that you're actually off the track on this layout, because there's a different layout with this track where this is a normal track. So that's why you can extend it as much as possible on this exit here. I did not mean to press X, I apologise. But that is the same for... Sorry. That's the same for this corner here. Since there's another track layout which cuts to this part of the track, like goes straight here. That's where you can use all that exit curb, since there's a different track layout, so you can extend all the track limit, even if you have all 4 tyres over the right line. Anyway, that is a lap time on this Lago Maggiore at 2:11.493. Honestly, I really enjoyed doing this combo. I think this car's amazing to drive, and I actually think it really suits this track. So I might return to this lap time challenge at some point on stream. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to show you my fastest lap again, but with commentary in the background, just for reminders. And then I'll show you how to get to the event after that. So I'll see you next clip, guys. Thank you very much. Well, here's my lap again, guys, with commentary back on. So this first corner, you're braking at the second last Maggiore sign on the right. Minimum apex speed is around 57 miles per hour. Try to cut the inside if you can. Here, brake on the end of this right bit on the right, down to about 40 miles an hour. Upshift to second, be a bit careful with your steering on the exit, and then go over to the right. As soon as you go past this white line, turn to the left. Try have your left tyres hook onto the curb. Here, brake on the end of this orange barrier. Minimum apex speed about 64 miles per hour. And again, try to get your right tyres hook onto the curb in between the white and red curb and the orange curb on the right. If you touch it, you're going to bounce and lose a lot of momentum. Here, you're going to brake a corner before the end of this left curb here. Stay very wide here. Cut back in. Get your right wheels to go just in between the red and white curb and the orange curb again. Minimum apex speed 70 miles per hour, stay to the right and minimise distance. Here, brake halfway along the curb on the right, down to about 84 miles per hour, 85 miles per hour. And again, use all the inside track limits on all these corners as possible to open up the next part of this section and to carry as much speed and momentum as possible. Here, again, be very careful on your steering, because the more steering you do, the more speed you're going to scrub off. So you need to be quite delicate with your steering here. Here, you're going to be braking on the second scarlet line down on the right on it in bumper cam, and take the right line on the controller down to about 65 miles per hour. On the wheel, you can cover the inside of it since you've got more steering angle to play with. Here, again, be delicate with your steering because you don't want to scrub off speed. This is easy flat, just use all the track limits here. Here, you're going to brake a car length after this pole on the left, in between, just before the 50, down to about 77 miles per hour. Use all the exit curb here to open up this next corner and pick up the throttle as soon as you touch the inside curb here. 77 mile an hour apex speed off on both those corners. Be careful on your steering because you don't want to bounce off the limiter. And for this last corner, you're going to brake on the fainted dark line as it appears on the outside of the curb, down to about 90 miles per hour, and use all this track exit up here. You can get away going over the right line here, but now I'm going to show you how to get to the event, to a CML replay, how to load the ghost, and how to use the data logger. So without further ado, I'll show you the next clip now. Okay guys, so the first way to see a replay I've just shown you guys, you can go to this discovery section in the bottom left of this home section, go to content search, go to replays, probably best to type my channel name in, and then once you click content search, it is this one, 211493 TT Challenge Alpha Giulia Lago. Click on that, you can view it here, add it to collection, etc. It will say Provisional PT and Raw 211493 on a controller, because that's what I used. To get into the event, and another way to do the replay is you go to the sports section on this top right of this home section. Once that has loaded in, you go to online time trials in the middle of your screen, click on that. Now this Autodrome Lago Maggiore full course in this Giulia, click on that, set the car, it's on racing hard, so you're probably going to have to buy the tyres here if you're going to use your own car, if not just rent it and equip the racing hard here. Qualifying time ranking, go to my name, press play replay. I should be top 20 throughout this event easily, to be honest. Well, not easily, but I should be. Let me just enter. I'll show you how to get a ghost and how to use the data logger. So once that loads in, the event is loaded, go to ranking board, again go to my name, click on load ghost. Once that's loaded in, you go to settings, go settings. I'd personally have the best ghost, personal best ghost off, and have the displayed ghost on, so you can follow my lines only as clearly as possible. I'd have it reset after each sector, so turn that on, and I'd personally have it start point 3 times ahead, so you can have enough time to react to when I'm braking, when I'm starting to turn in, and when I'm picking up throttle. Now to my favourite part of this video, data logger. So we're going to compare my best lap to Adam Enterprise best lap. I have a feeling I know which sector I'll mainly lose the time on. I think sector 2, I'll probably lose a 10th to him. Bit in SV as well, potentially. But anyway, let's press triangle so we can see the differences. I actually start the lap faster. I had a very good exit start lap. He cuts it inside here. That's where he gains a few hundreds. He probably has about half a 10th advantage by the end, if I were to guess. Oh, actually, I had a really good hairpin on my lap. Okay. So I'm actually ahead of this point. I start turning a bit later than him. He takes a narrow line, but it gives me a better line for his next corner. So I imagine I get a better exit than him here. Although I did break a touch early, potentially. Okay, yeah. I lose a bit there. So that is where I lose half a 10th to him. Here, I'm going to lose a bit of time here, I think. I break a tiny bit earlier than him. He takes the right line. He probably trail breaks earlier than me as well, but I did take an inner line here. So I should be able to... Yeah, I lost a 100th or two there. Here I break quite a bit later than him. Yeah, but he does take a different line, so he'll pick up the throttle earlier than I do. There you go, that's where I lose another 10th or so. That's where I thought I'd lost a lap time, so that doesn't surprise me. I'm going to fast forward this bit. I'm nearly 2 times behind him at this point, so I'm only losing half a 10th for the rest of this lap. So my lap's not bad, it's just the second sector I lost over a 10th, unfortunately. Here, I break later than him, he takes a narrow line. He is on the wheel, so he can do that. I can't do that on a controller, because I'll bounce on the rumble strips and Also, my car won't have enough steering angle to take that corner at the speed he's able to. So I'm always going to leave half a tenth or so to him there. Although saying that, I did lose a couple hundredths on my best attempt here. So I don't think the controls much of this here. I'll be quite a bit later than him, take a narrow line. At least on the entry. So I'm a bit wide on the exit, but it opens up for the next corner for me. So I'll get a better run out of this corner than he does. Let's see how he does this part. Yeah, he loses a bit there. He probably bounced off a little left limited potentially here, but quite a bit later than him. And I take a very narrow line. So initially I gain quite a bit on him on the entry, but I do want to stay a little bit wide here. But the last sector was actually pretty good. Could be a bit better, of course, but that is how Adam priced on a 211.269, and that's how I do on a 211.493. So if you found this helpful, then I'd appreciate liking a subscription, as always. If you've got any questions, put in the comments below. I did this on a controller, so I used steering sensitivity on 10, default ABS, and yeah, hopefully with at least the data logger, you can see whereabouts, what sort of lines to do, at least from Adam Price's perspective or from my perspective, and hopefully on the actual detailed laps, I helped you with the braking references, so with apex speeds and with racing line. But without further ado, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it helps, and yeah, take care and enjoy yourselves.